Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How you guys doing?
I am doing okay. I did a poor job. I thought since we got you last week with the bye week, you might be taking time off, but you never take time off, do you?
Well, it's pretty constant this time of year, but it's a good constant.
So I'm sure you can know, as a lazy journalist, the first thing I'm going to ask you is about Dak Prescott. But I am curious, how do you monitor his progress along the week? Do you have to say, like, at this day we would like him to be here, at this day we would like him to be there? Like, how does the week go for y'all and Dak?
Yeah, they have certain bars they're trying to reach as they work through their rehab on his calf, and we think we have the best in the business, and Britt Brown, and in terms of how he works with these players with different injuries, and does a great job of being able to get your hands around where you think he's going to be at what point, and is he still on track to at the next step playing the football game.
So I know at the end of the season, we see this all the time, Steven, if a team has a spot locked up and a guy is struggling a little bit with injury, maybe give him some time off to be at his best possibly for the playoffs. I know you have nothing locked up now, but you have a really nice lead in your division. Would you ever go, hey, if we sit out this player, let's just take Dak for example here, we have a lead here and the risk of putting him out there isn't worth the reward right now. Let's just make sure he's healthy for the rest of the season.
Well, I don't necessarily know that it's because we got a healthy lead in the East. I think it's more just the full body of work, as you mentioned, is knowing that we've got a long season in front of us, have 11 games left to play. And, at the end of the day, we got to make what's in the best interest of Dak Prescott. We all know how driven he is to compete, how driven he is to be great, and certainly how driven he is to want to play each and every game. And so we've got to calibrate that too, because no one is going to bet against number 4. And at the end of the day, he understands that, well, we've only got his best interest, here. And we'll evaluate all that, but we're still very optimistic he can play.
All right, Steven. So now I have a question way off the board here, which I think could get fun. Is you're part of the rules committee. How long have you been part of the rules committee in the NFL?
That's a good question. I don't necessarily keep count, but I think it's moving up on 10 years now.
Okay, awesome. So there's a lot of experience with a lot of people bringing in rules and how to make the game better or change the game. We were wondering, this was off the air since we know you have experience in this, what's the craziest rule that has been brought up that has been discussed where you were like, what the hell? But you guys had to discuss it because, somebody said, hey, what do you think about putting this in the NFL?
Well, you got to, first of all, I wish you'd have given me some time to think about that. Because there's been some, and I don't know that I have them on my fingertips right now, that, you go through it and you're trying to decide whether you want to move forward with something, but some of them, immediately are dead on arrival. But, I think the biggest one that comes to my mind right now that's not necessarily crazy, it's just a tough one, is the kickoff. And I know the committee feels strongly, and I do as well, that, the kickoff's a part of our game. I mean, that's people refer to, hey, kickoff at 3, kickoff at 3:30. And I just think we've done a great job of avoiding that, because there are people, and rightfully so, because it still is probably the highest injury ratio play we have in our game. But I do think with all the different rules, a lot of great special teams coaches getting together on how to make the kickoff safer have really improved on that. And I do think that we will continue to keep the kickoff in our game.
I know that obviously y'all just expanded the schedule this year. I've kicked this around a couple of times. Could you envision a scenario in which the NFL wants to have 2 bye weeks per team in order to also extend out that TV window another week?
Yeah. Yes, it's talked about on a regular basis, and certainly, in the mix in terms of, the buys, the number of buys that we should have. Obviously, we're going to monitor how these 17 games go with one bye and the 3 preseason games. But certainly not out of the question to think that you could be having 2 byes in the future, and certainly not out of the question in my mind that at some point you could consider going to those 18 games and 2 byes. So, what we did do this year, even though it's not necessarily a bye, is we certainly had the weekend off before we started the season after the preseason. So theoretically, you could say you were looking at having a couple of byes, although the one came between preseason and regular season.
What do you think is a fair amount of time to study the impact of the 17 games then? Like, I understand for a variety of reasons the desire to get to the 18th game. Do you look at it and you're like, well, we need 3 years to study how this works? Or like, how would those discussions even begin?
Well, this has been ongoing for years. And so, it's not like we're going to just start cold turkey and say, what are the ramifications of playing 17 regular, 3 preseason, 18 regular, 2 preseason. All those things have been being looked at for years and years. And so I don't think it's hey, we're going to need a big allotment of time to continue to look at that. I think it's more, you take steps. And certainly that's what we did this year, playing 17 games and 3 preseason. We're going to wear that one and see how our players respond to it. Obviously, player health and safety is at the top of the list, and we'll monitor how this season goes and how we managed it and see if it needs to be looked at again in terms of any changes that should be made, in particular things like you're talking about, an extra bye week or, hey, everything went great. We'll continue to go down this road for 2 or 3 years, collect all the data, and then make decisions from there. But, this has just been, this number of games has been on our agenda and been a part of discussions and meetings for years and years.
So when it comes to the guys that hopefully are healing up and getting ready to play at some point in the second half, can you kind of give us updates now that the bye week is over on DeMarcus Lawrence, Gallimore, Gallup, kind of 3 major guys that I know can play a big role in this second half of the season?
I think DeMarcus Lawrence and Gallimore still need time. I don't think they're going to start practicing anytime soon. We do intend to start practicing with Gallup this week, looking at Tristan Hill, maybe starting to practice him this week, and then Bernard Francis. So 3 more added to McKeon and Kelvin Joseph.
And then I had a question about somebody who's coming back for different reasons. How confident is the team, the coaching staff, and the front office that Lyle Collins can pop back in? I know he played at the start of the season but missed all of last season. He's only played 1 of your last 22 games. How confident is the franchise that he can pop back in and be as good as he was?
We're very confident that he's going to totally get back to where he was. I think the bigger question is, after sitting out 5 games, do you does he need some time? And certainly that's what Coach Philbin and Mike and Kellen will be looking at this week, is to just see where he is as we really get out and start to, put bodies on each other and start to get a feel for where his conditioning is and where he is in terms of being ready to play.
So I don't want to misinterpret at all then. So you're saying the possibility at least exists that he will not start this week?
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that they'll certainly evaluate him and see how his week goes after sitting out for 5 weeks.
So I know, Steven, you can't talk a lot about other teams. I know that there's rules against it, but you guys didn't play this week, and we are watching a lot of football. And for us, the most impressive team so far, our surprising team, has been the Cincinnati Bengals. Have you got to take in what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and what the Cincinnati Bengals have been able to put together, from being the worst team 2 years ago to now being, as we sit today, the number 1 seed in the AFC?
Well, certainly my hat's off to them. I did get to peek at their game some yesterday, and certainly they have 2 young superstars in our league, and Burrow and Chase. And, they obviously had a lot of draft capital in both those players, and certainly they're performing for them at key positions. In particular, the quarterback position is obviously the most important position, and we all know we're the beneficiary of that with Dak Prescott. When you find a great quarterback who not only plays at a high level but really carries the team with you, leads the team, and wins football games, then that's a big deal for your franchise, and certainly I know the Bengals must be feeling good about their young stars and where they're going.
We're talking with Stephen Jones right here on 105.3 The Fan. I know you said to start it off, it is a busy time of year. Did you take any time in the past week to do something fun or just focus on football, or maybe that is the fun?
Well, that is the fun. I mean, we certainly, have a great passion for our job. Starts at the top with Jerry, but it was able to get over to Arkansas and watch my son and the Razorbacks play this weekend, and so we've enjoyed that. And he's got a bye week coming up, so we got to spend a little time together after that game, and just look forward to really getting back at it full speed here with our team and getting to work and get ready to play the Vikings.
Is anybody going to be able to stop the juggernaut that is Georgia this year?
Well, I tell you what, I saw them firsthand, and their defense is special. I was actually making a comment to my son. I said, they might could compete on Sundays with that group they have. I know, when I was talking to Will McClay about Georgia, they've got a lot of players on that defensive side that are going to be playing on Sundays.
Now, a bit of a conundrum coming up since you mentioned the Vikings for Cowboys fans this weekend. We have recommended you put the earbuds in and listen to the broadcast of the Cowboys Vikings right here on the Fan while trick-or-treating. I know your kids are getting older, but for people with younger children, how do they attack this Halloween trick-or-treating situation with the Cowboys playing in the Sunday night spot?
Well, that's a good question. Hopefully they'll get that trick-or-treating done early and often, and get back in front of the TV and hopefully get to take in the majority of the Cowboys Vikings. I do know, obviously, Halloween's a special time for families with young kids, and certainly we all know our kids and our family take priority over anything. But hopefully they'll get that trick or treating done and get the kids back in the house, let them eat some candy, get the sugar going, and hopefully they can stay up late and watch the whole Cowboys game.
It's interesting looking at the Vikings, and I know that it's just Monday, and we have 6 days until that game on Sunday night. You look at Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. I know Adam Thielen's been around for a while, still having a solid year with 5 touchdowns. I know out of those 3 guys, which one kind of worries you the most?
Oh, I think all of them, and that's what makes them so good. They've got a formidable quarterback there in Cousins that can get the ball to the players you're talking about. And, they just got certainly Jefferson was a guy we really liked right there with CD. Certainly picked CD ahead of him, but he's obviously a great young receiver, and Dalvin Cook's a great running back. And, when you got, as we so well know, when it's clicking and you got a really good running game to go with a really good passing game, that creates a lot of problems for our defense. So I know Dan Quinn and our crew are going to have a big challenge as we go up to play the Vikings. And then, of course, we all know Mike Zimmer so well, who was a great defensive coordinator for us. I know he'll have that defensive side of the ball. He'll have a great game plan, and we'll have our challenges there as well.
And coming off of the bye, so kind of, I know the numbers don't quite line up, starting the second half of the season, going on the road, going against a quality opponent. How important is this game in terms of, hey, I know we started 5-1 before we took the break. How important is this to continue your momentum and kind of show, hopefully, what we all think the second half Cowboys team will be?
Well, I think we've got to continue to improve. That's the big thing, and we all know each and every game is so important in the NFL. I think that's part of what makes the NFL great is you can't take a week off and just say, we can afford to give this game away or that game away. Every game's so major, and I agree with you. We've got a lot of momentum going, but we also got a lot of places we can improve. As you said, we're going to start getting players back that I think can only make us better. And we just have to improve as a football team, all 3 phases. And certainly I know that's Mike's goal this week is to get everybody refocused and back in on playing the Vikings. I know they got a breather, and hopefully their legs back under them, and hopefully they'll be fresh. And as you said, we've got a big challenge going up to play Minnesota.
Well, we appreciate your injury breakdown, your breakdown of the Vikings, and then if you can just finally give us your breakdown of what your favorite Halloween candy is, we would really appreciate that.
Well, the Reese's peanut butter cup's always at the top of my list. So I've always been a big favorite of mine, and especially if I get a few extra, I put them in the freezer, and that makes them better.
Oh, look at that advice across the board. Thank you very much, Stephen. We will catch up with you again next week, sir.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.